rolling?
Rolling?
Yeah.
Okay, your views on being considered a minority, or are you?
Oh yes, I'm definitely a minority. There's only maybe 5,000 to 6,000 blacks in Wilkes County, but that doesn't bother me because I've always been a minority and I just make the best of it. I don't look at myself as a minority, I just look at myself as an American.
I need a slate. Mule, please.
Pardon?
I need her slated just for, I need her name.
Oh, would you state your name?
I'm Brenda Lorraine Adams Dobbins.
Speak to the issue of slaves. Well, that's underground. Just speak about the slaves. Don't worry about the Underground Railroad.
Okay, the only thing that as close as I can get is my great-great-grandfather. My mother's grandfather was a slave in Roaring River, and he actually ran away and joined the Union Army and came back to Wilkes County as a free man. He actually carried a little piece of paper, and we have a copy of it that told that he was free, because that's the only way he could, after he served that year in the Union Army.
Back in those days, when some of the veterans came back, they gave them land. Did they give him some land?
I don't know, but they must have, because he accumulated quite a bit of land. Some of it has been sold. The old home place, part of the land is still there, and there's a petty cemetery on that land, and we've recently discovered that there's like 80-some graves on it. They're on all petties because I've been able to pull up documentation where some of my relatives on my dad's side of the family was buried there. So I'm still in the process of finding out who all those, because there's nothing but stones except for his stone that his grave stone that's there, and then his son's baby that died.
Why is Martin Luther King important?
He fought for the rights of blacks just to be considered citizens. I came up during the time that he was fighting for our rights. I graduated from Lincoln Heights High School. That they actually integrated the schools my senior year, 65 and 66 in Wilkes County. I chose to stay at Lincoln Heights, and then I went on to A&T, State University in Greensboro, and during that time, Dr. King is fighting just for the blacks to have the right to sit down in a restaurant to eat, to be able to go in a store in the front door and purchase merchandise without having to go to the back door. Even to eat, they'd have to go to the back, order their things, and take it outside to eat. Just to be considered an American citizen, and that's why he was so important. People downed him because he was fighting for it, because they kept saying, well, it'll come. But I don't think if Martin Luther King, and as young as he was, if he hadn't seen the vision that it's going to take place, that it would have ever, it may have possibly when I passed on, but it wouldn't have in the 60s like it did.
All right. Since you brought up Lincoln Heights, and that's your favorite subject, let's talk about Lincoln Heights.
Prior to Lincoln Heights in 1924, there were small schools. There were small schools all over the county. I was looking at a video that they had done on the eastern part, and one of the men said that they tried to have the schools within 3 to 4 miles so the students could walk to school. But that wasn't so for the blacks. I know at Roaring River School there was a Papa Spring Church, which is my church. There was a black school because my grandfather's oldest daughter was a school teacher there. She went to the Normal Institute in High Point to get her training. There was one in Rhonda, and then there was one between Rhonda at the Methodist Church, and there was one between Rhonda and Poplar Spring. There, and there was one at Mount Valley next to where I live, school. The churches were used as schools during the week and church on the weekend. And then in 1924, when they opened Lincoln Heights, we traveled all the way from Roaring River. I would catch the bus between 6:30 and 6:45, and we would ride, and school would start at 8:30, and sometimes we were actually late to school from going all over the country picking up the black children. But Booker T. Washington went to Chicago to talk to Julius Rosenwald, who was the founder of Sears, to ask for some funds for the Tuskegee Institute. And Booker T. and Rosenwald would not just give him some funds. He came to investigate, and when he did, and he noticed the conditions of the schools of the blacks in the South, he made the statement that whatever money was raised, he would match him. And what is so fascinating about it is that Rosenwald had blueprints drawn up for these schools. He had the windows, and they were tall windows on the side, and the chalkboard was so that the light would come in and light the chalkboard. He had the blueprints for the outhouses, and he wanted them built where they would be community centers during the weekends and schools during the weeks. And our people in Wilkes County got together and had what we have just the flea markets now, but they would bring their crops and sell them and have chicken cues and anything else that they had to raise the funds, and then he matched them, and we were able to build Lincoln Heights. Now, Lincoln Heights was named after President Abraham Lincoln because supposedly he freed the slaves, and we were supposed to reach the heights of Lincoln. That was our goal. It was a fun time for us. We did not realize that we were poor and deprived. We had pride in our school. We had to have fundraisers throughout the year. We had homecoming, we had sweetheart balls, we had May Day activities to raise funds to keep the school going. And we had a PTA that was very active. But and then we'd always have raffles. But, we did anything we could to keep the school going. And it's a source of pride now. What we've got to do is get the young people excited about it, because we've always been excited about it. But he matched the funds for them, and they were able to build the auditorium with 6 classrooms. And since then, it's been expanded twice with it. But that's how we got started with Lincoln Heights.
So did the county put up any money to help pay for it?
No, it was a black community. And I'm finding when I was in school, I was in high school from 62 to 66. I started at Lincoln Heights in 55. But when we had people from Sparta that would come down to go to high school with us. But I'm finding that people from Yadkin County, from Surrey County, from Ashe County, I work with the Board of Elections, and one of the men from Mount Pleasant was telling me one day that he remembered at Mount Pleasant School seeing a panel wagon come down day after day with the students from Ashe County to Lincoln Heights. And he says, I thought that was so, look how far. He said, we were grumbling about getting up and having to get to school on time, and look how far they traveled. But the students went to school with us to Lincoln Heights from 62 to 65, and then they went to Allegheny High School when they integrated the schools. I chose to stay at Lincoln Heights, and which I could have gone to East Wilkes, which they gave me a hard time over because they said, you can't come here and teach because you didn't come here your senior year. But I chose to stay at Lincoln Heights that year. They had the high school one more year, and then they closed the high school. The students had to be dispersed out into the county, and they moved the elementary school down to the high school building because that was a new building, and they were able to keep it open 67, 68, and then they closed it all together. So they opened it up as a daycare, and then they closed it, they condemned it, and they closed it, and so now what we're working for is to make it a community center.
Okay. Important issues as you view them today.
We've lost a lot of community-ness. And I think that's important. I think we need to come together and be able to, especially as a black race, we see each other at the funeral homes, we see some of them at church, but we knew everybody that grew up in Wilkes County, blacks and whites. I'm from Roaring River, and my best friend was a white girl growing up. We worked in the fields. When my grandfather, who had 100 acres of land, when he didn't have work for us on the farm, he took us to somebody else's farm. It didn't matter whether it was a white or black, whoever needed us, we went out and worked. And we had a collaboration there that you just don't see anymore. We're just so busy taking care of ourselves that we just don't come together to help each other out like we should.
I'm glad you brought that up. I lived under those same conditions where we helped each other.
Oh, if somebody needed something, we walked. And even with my grandmother, who lived to be 89, if she died March 18th, if she had lived to May 1st, she would have been 90. She would call us, bring me some orange juice, so-and-so's sick, and we took her to visit them. But we walked to, when we'd stayed with her when my mom would be working. And if somebody needed us, we walked to help them. And we didn't have telephones then, but the word got around and we did that.
Important people in Wilkes County come out of Wilkes County. Besides yourself.
I'm not important. We've had lady ambassadors. Lady Sarah Lou Harris. We've had doctors and lawyers and boy.
When you say ambassador, expand on that a little bit.
Well, she was
married to.
She was married to an ambassador, and I'm not sure which country is. Maybe Africa, but she would come back. She was Lady Sarah Lou. Important people. Boy, you got me that one.
Were there any high football players at Lincoln Heights?
Oh, we had basketball players that went on to play for the Harlem Globetrotters. Millard Harris Jr. He got a full scholarship to Winston-Salem State, our rival, but we've got people that have gone on, that's finished their education. Some have worked in the federal government. Some of them are in D.C. and whatnot. Some we've had superintendents of schools.
Struggles.
Like I said, we were poor, but we didn't realize we were poor. We were happy. We worked on the farm and had food to eat. We didn't always have money to go to the stores to buy, new things, but it made us appreciate what we did have. I had two cousins in Philadelphia. One of my mother's sister had one daughter, and another one had a daughter and a son, and they would bring us clothes. And, at that time, I didn't even realize that they were, you knew they were hand-me-downs, but they were the latest fashions then. But I wore hand-me-downs. My mom and daddy bought me my first coat in January of 1967. I was a freshman at A&T. And I guess I'd gained so much weight I couldn't wear them, so they bought me a coat. But prior to that, it was... But we didn't consider it a struggle. I can remember when we just didn't have the money to maybe pay the light bill, and I'd pray, light bill was like $12 or $13, and somehow the Lord blessed us that they didn't turn our lights off and we were able to, but we burnt wood. It was a family thing, and growing up, they didn't say, you can't do this because you're a girl. we did whatever. I did everything but drive a truck. My grandfather had a truck, but the boys got to drive it. He wasn't insistent that the girls drive, but
Did you play sports when you went to school and college?
no. I didn't play sports in high school because I lived so far from school. When I was growing up, it was church homeschool.
Yeah.
We walked to church. We walked to visit family that lived right there in Warren River, but we rode the big orange bus to school and back. But see, we were privileged at Lincoln Heights that we could have a 20-minute activity period during the day. We had an hour for lunch and then 20 minutes afterwards. So what they did was we had our club meetings during that time. And both of my brothers were president of the New Farmers of America, and I was president of the New Homemakers of America, and we were involved in other clubs and so forth. But that was just during the school day. We couldn't. My mother's never driven, and my dad always had an evening job or something. We just didn't stay after school to participate.
So, talk about the consolidation. I'm not sure what she wants there, but maybe the school or something.
Most of the students went to Wilkes Central and East Wilkes when they in 65, 66. I think I had 4 classmates that went on to East Wilkes to graduate. And the majority of them went to Wilkes Central. Basically, we didn't have any problems consolidating. It's interesting because Wilkes County didn't have problems consolidating, and I've heard people say, well, the people decided that they'd better just go ahead and consolidate before the government came in and said you had to. I learned recently from one of our local pastors that we consolidated before Ashe County did.
Is there
Alexander County did.
Is there any school in Wilkes County that's not consolidated? They have black people?
Oh yeah, there's some now. There's always been some. It's always been in the eastern and the southern part of the county that we've had them. North has some blacks now, and they've had some, over the years. I'm not sure about West, but my son went to East Rodney Cleman and then to East Wilkes, and even at Rodney Cleman for about 6 of his 9 years, he was the only black boy at Rodney Cleman. There were black girls there, but he didn't have any problems, with, you're gonna have some, but you just ignore them and go on, because you have even problems within your race, so you don't. And that's the way I taught him. You do the best you can, and then you step out. But I think it's only the reason that they're not consolidated is because we didn't force busing, and there's remote areas of the county that you don't have blacks in.
Accomplishments.
Whose? Whose accomplishments?
What is one of your biggest accomplishments?
Boy, I finished college. I couldn't find a teaching job. So I worked as a secretary for a year, and then I came back to I worked at A&T for 6 months in the bookstore as a secretary, and then I got the job as a technical aide at East Wilkes. So when I came to East in 71, 72, I was an aide. And then in 72, the teacher, one of my best friends, was driving from West Wilkes to East to work. And she says, I'm not going to do that next year. So I applied and I got that job where I didn't intend to stay in Wilkes County. I wanted Greensboro, but I ended up loving it and staying here. I went back in 86 and I completed my master's degree at University of North Carolina at Greensboro in 89. I've taken courses at Appalachian, and I retired in 2000 as a result with 29 and a half years with the state.
So you went to A&T now. Was this after they had the sit-ins?
No, well, yes, after the sit-ins. I was there from 66 to 70. I was there when Martin Luther King died and we had all the riots. But I wasn't there when they had the sit-ins.
Were you ever down when I know that's a bad place for the Klan, is Greensboro. No. You didn't get.
I've never had any encounter with the Klan.
If you just ignore them, they'll go away, right?
I didn't ever see them.
Yeah. Okay. Churches and music.
I'm a member of Poplar Spring Baptist Church. I have taught Sunday school and worked with the youth for a number of years, but now I'm on the program committee. I'm the financial secretary, and I guess that's it.
You know anybody that can do sharp notes? I always wanted to learn how to do that.
We have a senior choir that reads the notes, that sings by the notes. There's a North Carolina Vocal Singing Convention, and they are part of that. My dad was one of those that sang the notes, was a note singer. We actually have 3 choirs in our church now because we have a new pastor. Our other pastor stayed like 20-some years, and this new pastor, Reverend Romy Horton, who's actually younger than I am, has been there 4 years. But we do have the note singing choir.
You ever heard of Reverend Montreal
Howell?
Montreal.
Yes. He was our moderator for the Yadkin Valley Association. And
Well, my grandpa used to own land in Boomer, and he was probably the first one to sell the black people, what we called them back then, to sell them land. And Monteil was always my hero. I love him. We call him
he's written a book. Oh, Monty, yeah.
Monty, that's what we called him.
He's written a book of his 80-some years. It's interesting. Have you seen that?
No, but I think I'll have to buy it.
Well, I got one out in the car.
Okay. Is that about 30 minutes?
Yeah. You want to wrap it up with anything or any closing comments?
So, now do you have family?
All of my family's basically in Roaring River. I have a younger sister that's in Winston, but majority of them. And we come back together once a year now. This will be year 14 for us. We started and tried, my mother and sister tried to bring everybody back. See, my grandfather had 10 children. They raised 9, and all of them migrated to Philadelphia. But my mom and her younger sister came back to North Carolina, and everybody else stayed in Philadelphia. And so we're bringing all of Grandpa Abe, who was the slaves' children, together. Last year we were in Ohio and had a ball because there's actually, I think 8 of his grandchildren still alive.
So now, I take it you're still, were you married?
Yes.
So do you have any kids?
I have one son.
Well, you left him out.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, talk about
Well, my son is 26 years old. He's graduated from East Wilkes and Western Carolina University, and he's in physical fitness, and he's right now working for Alltel and selling Aflac insurance. But he's was working for Peak Fitness, and he's still single, and we're proud of him.
He's searching.
Oh yeah, I tell him if he was coming up my time, you wouldn't be searching and changing jobs like you are, but that's this generation, and I can understand that.
I have one question.
Yes.
Are you optimistic about the future for the African American community in Wilkes County? For everything that your community has gone through and looking to the future?
I'm optimistic about what we're going to be doing with Lincoln Heights. We are still struggling, but we're trying to get it on the National Register of Historical Places. We thought that, Elizabeth Grinton was a teacher there, and we thought we were on the North Carolina Registry, but we found out that we were on the study for it. So we're having to go back and pick up the pieces. She was handling all of it, and so we're going back and we're trying right now to raise funds to change the roof, because we can't to replace the roof, and we have to keep it basically the way it was for the historical society. But that's our goal, and we think we can pull people back together. Every 2 years we have a school reunion at Lincoln Heights, and it's really a big deal. We have people that come. We have more people come from out of town for the reunion than we have local people that'll attend. But it's usually a one-day affair, and it's really interesting to meet people and to hear them talk about their times at Lincoln Heights, from the potbelly stove to the way it was, the way it is now.